I mean, you wake up in the morning, you're giving instructions, what has to be cooked, you're figuring the laundry out, then you have to get to work, then you come back, then you have to check with your spouse what time he or she is coming back, and do you wait for dinner or do you not wait for dinner?
They said beautiful faces are everywhere, but beautiful minds are hard to find. But that's the only way I can introduce the three of you.
You have four beautiful minds here.
Three, actually,
and you,
including me. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. But Meghana, you wanted to make this film with her in mind, even before she knew about it. You said yes in 10 minutes. So all three of you...
Not 10, 2.
2 minutes?
Yeah.
Wow. So what was it for the three of you that attracted you to this particular subject, the director and the two actors here?
For me, it's an extremely powerful story and a very, very inspiring and strong character. First, the resonance of it in our society where acid violence is so rampant was a huge tug for me. Yeah.
And what was it for you?
Over and above everything that she said, I think, you know, of course the character, of course the narrative, the journey, what she's made, what Lakshmi has made of her life after the incident, the inspiration that she is not just for other acid attack survivors, but also for society at large. So of course there was that, you know, there's that narrative, but also the fact that Meghana gULZAR was directing this film. If I had not seen Talwar, I don't know what, you know, or rather forget seeing Talwar. If she had not made Talwar, I don't know. But what I do know is that I saw, here I see a person who's able to pick up these really delicate and fragile stories, but tell them with honesty, responsibility and sensitivity. And that for me was really important because they need to, you know, certain subjects just need to be handled with kid gloves. And I've seen Talwar and she does that beautifully. So I think for me, having that kind of trust and faith and the fact that I could see the honesty in her eyes, the minute she walked in, I knew that this is someone who passionately feels about something, and that, you know, as an actor, I could completely surrender, and, you know, that I was in the right hands.
What about you? Apparently they went back and forth and then finally you got the call. Is that so?
But to begin with the question, over and above of what both of them have said, for me, the heart of the script was at the right place, especially for the times that we are living in. I wanted to be a part of this, irrespective of the length of the story. And yeah, and obviously Meghana gULZAR directing it. Yeah.
What if she had not picked up this particular topic, and you as an actor who's also the producer of the film, would you have broached this subject? Would it have come into your mind to pick up a story like this if it had not been her?
As a producer, maybe. I mean, so many factors, right? Like, have I stumbled upon it? Has somebody else stumbled upon it? What is their relationship with that story? I think a lot of factors would have come into play if that was, a scenario, I would think.
So what were the do's and don'ts when you approach their real life characters? It's happened with somebody. Also, an actor and a director brings their own craft and their own perception to narrating the story. So what were the do's and don'ts that the three of you had in mind when you approached this particular film?
Honesty, authenticity and honesty. I think as long as everything that we did, and, you know, whether it's again right from the time she narrated to me for the first time or the fact that we're sitting here and doing this interview, I think every part of this journey has been authentic and it's been honest, and I think people see that.
What about you?
You know, subjects like this can tend to get very emotionally manipulative, a film like this. In my execution, whether it's got to do with my sensibility or what, I don't know, I'm a little restrained. So I will not overstate anyway. But I think extra conscious of that on this film. That was a big do. Don't was that, don't succumb to the visual, as difficult as it may be, because you want your audience to keep their eyes open when they're watching this film. You want them to take it in and leave the theatre with it. Yeah.
For me, was cutting the superfluous was very important, because here we had a script, as I've said, which had its heart at the right place, the right people making it. For me, collaborating with an actor of Deepika's caliber, half my job was easier, and her directing, half my job was easier. Don'ts के लिए वो ये थे, बताने के लिए कि क्या नहीं करना है, और yeah, that's how we sort of, the amount of faith that Deepika was talking about. When you are signing up for any film, you are surrendering a part of your aspirations to your director. आप अपनी ज़िंदगी के वो 2 महीने 3 महीने निकाल के देते हैं, and अगर आप वहाँ पे भरोसा नहीं कर पाते हैं, तो there is no point in collaborating with someone. You entirely have to surrender yourself. And yeah, so that was the case with me.
And Deepika, I'm sure you've been asked this over and over again. You belong to an industry, and also in our films, odes have been written celebrating a woman's beauty. Here you are enacting a character who redefined the concept of beauty. What for you, someone who knows, everyone praises the way you look and all, what was your biggest takeaway?
So I think as far as the film or the character was concerned, I think the biggest takeaway for me was, when I looked at myself in the mirror for the first time, after having been through all of the prosthetics and the different kinds of looks and all of that, and we finally, there was that one day where we said, wow, we've achieved it, this is it. And you kind of go off to sleep because it takes 5 hours, 6 hours to get, in the initial stages it would take that long. So I would just doze off in the chair, and they would, put my face on. And finally, on that final day,
my face on.
Yeah.
That's her biggest takeaway. Yeah, sorry.
I looked at myself and I said, this is it. This is me. I feel like myself. And she was standing. She had just walked into the room at that point, and I looked at her and I said, Meghana, I feel exactly like myself. And she said, there you go. That's your character. That's the film.
It is true.
And that really has been my biggest takeaway for anyone who might be, for anyone who might be thinking about what this journey has been like for me. And then, of course, we read about acid violence, we see it in the news, but I think playing the character and living the life, every moment of an acid attack survivor, I've learned so much. Every nuance, every detail, every practical issue that they face, every financial issue that they face, what is it that the family goes through, in a law and order situation, how does that come into play? So many things, and all of these are things that you'll discover, of course, in the movie, which is also how I've discovered it. And I think that's the beauty of being an actor.
And also you burnt your prosthetic by the end of it. Was it, in a way, did you feel empathy? Was there a kind of, that feeling of guilt, like they don't have that option? Or was it that I have that privilege that I can go back to my face? What did you go through that at that moment?
I think that's the one thing that really took a toll on me every single day. The fact that I could go back to my reality. And I think, yes, that's most certainly, I'm very happy you asked that question, because that's something and again, taking my face off would take an hour and a half every day after having, lived in it. And it had become so much a part of me, actually, that the team around me had kind of stopped reacting to this me and were more reactive to that me. But yes, I think somewhere the fact that I could go back to being this, whatever that might be, and not, and that's not their reality, of course, is something that I had to deal with emotionally.
So Vikrant, let me ask you this question. This is a movie about a woman, headlined by a woman, produced by a woman, directed by a woman, written by a woman. What is the dynamics like on a set like that when you have these strong, creatively sound women? What is it like for a man on a set like that?
It's incredible. It's incredible. And I've been fortunate enough to, have had these experiences multiple times, be it with Konkana, with Alankrita, with Zoya. I've always said this thing, ki this is what I generally think. You know, I think we should have more women in positions of responsibility and power. They will definitely guide you right. Also, because this is my personal observation, कि you know their level of cunning is lesser than a man's.
Ah.
I don't agree with you, but anyway.
मुझे ऐसा लगता है. This is what I think.
Now Vikrant will want to have a discussion with you.
Of course.
We will, which we will.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, I've also honestly never dichotomized it like this कि अच्छा मैं किसी औरत के साथ कर रहा हूँ या आदमी के साथ. For me, a director is a director, a co-actor is a co-actor, irrespective of they are a man or a woman. It's a collaborative effort. There are larger targets to achieve. These things will not help me take a step closer to that. I can't be thinking like this.
And Meghana, you said you were clinically detached, like, unemotional about with the project, but you have a highly sensitive actor. I could see that in your eyes when you introduced the trailer. It had impacted her, highly emotional. So how does it work when you have a director who is like vested in the project but removed from it, but a highly emotional actor? And what are you like? Do you also get into that subject like totally? It's hard to shake off. What was it like amongst the three of you?
I want to speak, I will allow her to answer this, but it must have been the toughest on her, because here she's someone who has to, go through the motions of making a movie which is so technical, but at the same time she's an extremely sensitive and emotional person. As an actor, you can be emotional. You need to be emotional. You can be emotional. You can be emotional while performing. You can be emotional when you're not performing. When you're the one weaving that narrative and putting it together, you cannot allow your emotion, I would like to believe, in certain moments. It's, you have to kind of, especially while she's making the film. Now, I think, and then there's the other process of having to, you live with the story for so long after having made the movie. And every day you're watching for 2 months or 3 months or 6 months, every day you're watching the same movie over and over and over again. Imagine how mechanical and technical that gets, and you're listening, you're looking at it from a sound perspective, you're looking at it from a music perspective, you're looking from so many different perspectives, but having to watch the movie over and over again and having to have an objective view of the film so that we as an audience can enjoy it emotionally. For a person who's very sensitive and emotional, I think it's the toughest for her. And now you may speak.
She's explained it beautifully though.
Yeah, no, she's got it absolutely right. It would feel cruel sometimes, you're sitting behind the monitor and your actors are giving you so much and you do well up, but you don't have the luxury of either dwelling in that moment or enjoying it. You're looking at it extremely technically and you're saying, okay, no, let's do one more. You have to just smother that emotion right there. And it's extremely cruel to your own emotion as well as to the emotions of your actor, right? But that's what it takes. So that's what we need to do.
I do tend to get emotional at times, but I don't know, maybe subconsciously don't react when there are people around. There were moments that sort of caught the better of me, but they are with me, they'll stay with me. Yeah.
He's not maybe so much of like a crier, for lack of a better word, but he's a very sensitive person, very, very sensitive person. At least, as a co-star, I really felt that every step of the way. And, working with prosthetics for 12, 14, 16, 18 hours sometimes a day, it's not easy in that heat. And to have, you cannot really ask for anything more than just having a supportive co-star in that moment. And he couldn't do anything, but he was there.
Yeah.
Also, I think now that we're talking about this, I think there was a duality in all of us. Like she was having to go through whatever at a physical and an emotional level. She's already, completely surmised what I was going through. His graph or the character's graph in the story does not have the huge emotional upheavals that her graph has, okay? at the point in where he appears in the story. And also because of the way his character is, the character's reaction is to get angry, right? So no matter what the scene would be doing to him, the character had to get angry.
Yeah.
So it would disturb him because we know he's an extremely sensitive person, but the character had to get angry. So there was like a duality playing out, and I'm sure that it goes for the rest of the crew as well.
A lot of the things that I did in this film will always stay with me, you know, and definitely for all the right reasons. जैसे मैम कह रहे थे कि हाँ मैं सेंसिटिव हूँ, उस वक्त कैरेक्टर की रिक्वायरमेंट कुछ और थी. If I can say on the edge most of the time.
Yeah, edgy.
You were on
Edgy.
edge. Yeah.
Yeah,
Edgy.
on edge.
Yeah.
Also, Deepika, when I had spoken to you during Ram Leela, you said, I love doing secretarial work. I love photocopying paper. Was that fulfilled when you became producer? Did you manage to do the things that you wanted to do? I know you like seeing things in symmetry. Nothing should be out of
See,
place.
I've graduated to producer. I will soon graduate to line producer. Then I will take printouts and make stickers.
No, but what was it like? Also, is the producer Deepika any different from the actor Deepika?
I'll allow her to answer that question. I don't think I can give...
No.
The same?
I think it's the same diligence, it's the same attention to detail, it's the same, there's like cutting edge thought, right? Even as an actor, she'll do that one thing in a very, very ordinary, not ordinary, but a very simple emotional scene. There'll be that one thing that will come that will elevate it. As a producer, the same very, very incisive insights come a lot of times from her. Whether it's about the positioning of the film or the presentation of the film or how we should... I mean, she's ideated through the entire campaign and marketing of the film. So the same diligence is there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Every time I meet you, you add another feather to your cap, which is amazing. Another thing is the way you've championed the cause of mental health in a country that people don't speak. It's people who suffer through it know that the mind space of someone going through can be dark and it's like a bottomless pit. And I'm sure you go through those motions continuously. It's not you're completely out of it. What is that one sense of purpose that elevates you, that one thing that you're like, I'll get over it? You know, there are many there who would want to hear it and it'll encourage a lot of people.
What is it that... I think... Okay, let me put it this way. I don't think I fight anything anymore. I don't think I challenge anything anymore. So if I feel a certain way, I embrace that. If I want to say something, I'll say it. If I feel something, I embrace it. I think I have found my peace in that. Because I think, you know, we're constantly trying to be perfect all the time and everything has to be okay all the time, and that is a very large part of my personality. You know, everything has to be organized and streamlined and all of that, but that's maybe now I'm beginning to channelize that more at a day-to-day level. But I think at an emotional level, I don't fight anything anymore. And so I mean, I'd say that for people, you know, anyone who's probably watching this interview, I think, I mean, what I believe in is honesty and authenticity, if that helps anyone.
So the kitchen cabinets will be far better aligned. Yeah. But the emotional core can be as instinctive as it wants to be.
Set पे ऐसे कुछ हुआ था, like this is out of place.
Set पे, मतलब it started at the readings. There would be glasses of water, there'd be people's pencils, markers, scripts. If somebody had kept a pencil diagonal, it had to get aligned parallelly to the script.
Seriously? Yeah.
She had once told me that the frame behind you is disturbing me. Isko theek kar do.
In an interview, yes.
Isko theek kar do. You worked with both husband and wife. Who's the more chilled out one?
The more chilled out?
Yeah, chilled out one. Bindas on set.
I would say Deepika, because ये एक मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि लोगों को मिसकंसेप्शन है कि रणवीर हमेशा कूदता रहता है. ऐसा नहीं है. ये सच मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, क्योंकि लुटेरा के टाइम पे we even read about what he did to his stomach. He stapled himself.
Yes, he did.
We read it like a couple of months ago. when he's on set, he is entirely involved in this, in what the requirement of that scene is. And yeah, so I think Deepika is a little more chilled out because probably she seamlessly moves in and out of things, probably. He's a little more segregated, if I can say.
Yeah, I think, and I've worked with him, so I think my process is, you don't see my process.
It's
I think
very
my
internal.
process is more
Very
internal, and I don't like to discuss my process too much. So it's just, it's all internal. With him, it's very external. So he will change the car, he will change his clothes, he will change his perfume, he will change everything changes around him. So and I've worked with both kinds of actors, so I think maybe that's what you're saying, that his process is maybe a little more external, you see all of it. Mine is just a little more...
It's very internal, मतलब आपको पता भी नहीं चलेगा.
It's invisible, actually.
Invisible.
So they're asking me to
I hope
wrap.
it's there.
They're asking me to wrap up. So before we wrap up, one question I need to ask you, I'm meeting you after 4 years, is you've got married also. That what's a day like in the Ranveer Deepika house? In one word, how would you say what's a day like? Because you're a couple that makes all of us smile and so happy. So what's a
I
day?
would like to believe that it's like any other household. I mean, you wake up in the morning, you're giving instructions, what has to be cooked, you're figuring the laundry out, then you have to get to work, then you come back. Then you have to check with your spouse what time he or she is coming back, and do you wait for dinner or do you not wait for dinner? And it's the same. It's right.
So, has he influenced your fashion sense? It seems so a little bit, no?
Not at all. Not at all. Please don't give him so much credit also. No, I mean, honestly, it's has always been a side to, maybe people just see it a lot more now with that lens because we're married or because we're together. But maybe something that was a fashion nay earlier now seems like, oh, it's cool, but because, I'm just making this up. No, I think I've always had that side to me. I know there is this perception of me being, elegant and this and that and all of that, and that's a large part of me, but I'm also, I think, very expressive when I dress up. Maybe not every day, but often, and that's also a side to my personality.
And thank you so much. It's taken us 2 years to sit across and talk to each other. I hope we are not going to be waiting for another 2 years till you make another screen.
No. Even if I do, it has to be worth it.
It's true with you, everything is like that. Thank you so much, all three of you. Since you're speaking to Good Times, what's your idea for Good Time?
My idea of a good time? Well, you can't have a good time if you don't have peace of mind. So, peace of mind over everything else.
An afternoon nap with my son.
Oh.
Idea for good time, a good book and an afternoon nap. Yeah.
Sounds perfect. All the very best. You seem to have made a mark and a statement with this film. Continue doing what the three of you are doing and keep making that impact that you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.